Hi, I'm Nick, limegreensquid. I just another response to my friend on Facebook that I wanted to share because I wrote it out and I thought it again was well put. A lot of it's probably rehashing a lot of what my old other videos are about, but you know, it's all about finding the best wording for responses. My friend started accusing me of hating him um, and stuff like that. I will be addressing that, but he's also talking about how I'm taking things out of context, that there are certain church groups that use the Bible to say what Christianity doesn't actually say, but if it's in the Bible and it says it, then it says it. Anyway, I addressed that too, so hopefully you'll just get what the arguments were that I'm responding to by my responses. There's nothing context sensitive about direct orders to take slaves from the nations around you. Right, he was also saying about how the definition of slavery is not the same back then as it is now. So back in more brutal times, slavery was less brutal. That just goes against all logic in the first place. But anyway, here's my response. There's nothing context sensitive about direct orders to take slaves from the nations around you. Nothing unclear about orders saying you may beat your slave, not to death, but you may beat him or her so hard that they can't get up for 2 days. But if they do get up, you are not punished. God forbid we lose our help. Nothing that needs professional translation about orders during an invasion to kill all men, boys, and women who have seen a man, but to take for themselves all the virgins and young girls as slaves. Because those girls definitely want to be there. Shouldn't God have known from Let There Be Light that slavery is wrong, always, and to have not tolerated it in the first place? Did God allow the will of his people to influence his decision? He never seems to allow that for any other of his rules. How could God be God if he didn't even know that slavery was wrong until non-religious people began to fight against it? If you're convinced by the obvious redefinition of slave as bondservant, then you must answer for the orders direct from God about slavery. And I don't hate you at all. I hate the religion that was written to ensnare intelligent people like you. I fight against it because it creates this artificial wall that Christians put up, and that you take pain in me criticizing beliefs you have that were created by someone else. Beliefs that aren't genuinely of your own discovery. Someone else created them, and through research and study I know they are obviously false and wrong. And this is not hateful. Again, you Christians love to turn logical arguments into pain, and then tell us we're hating. But we're just talking the truth. Honesty is always the most important to us. I like you enough that I want you to be freed from this archaic, divisive, and proven false system of lies created to make good, smart people like you enablers for those who do use religion in its truest sense. If I have any hatred, lump it at the religion itself, plus the con men who have created it. The followers are victims of childhood indoctrination before kids had the ability to think for themselves and have the strong monkey instinct to follow whatever their elders do for survival. It's always about protecting people from each other. You may not discriminate against gays yourself, but your Bible tells you and the rest of its followers to do that. Get rid of the Bible and the version of God known as Yahweh, and we're fine. Make a God that doesn't involve himself in genocide, discrimination, massive worldwide murder, hardening hearts against his own people, etc., allowing hell to exist, etc. And we won't have a problem with your religion. Our only problem with you is that you still refuse to reject such a horrible book that encourages the most evil deeds in humanity, alongside a few writers who decided to write a few positive things about us here and there. I always argue with logic and facts. The problem is that Christians are programmed to find a lot of logical arguments, such as Yahweh is an evil demon, just read the Bible, it's all there, to be insulting. Not because it actually is an insult to them, but because they either know it's true or haven't read those books of the Bible and are so emotionally wrapped up in the idea of this God, whom no one has even bothered to prove to any of them either, that you feel emotionally hurt, not to mention not wanting to sully the honor of those who taught you to believe in this stuff. If any of that sounded insulting, take off your religion glasses and just read it straight. Read the Bible, at least all of Leviticus and Deuteronomy. Those are where the laws were mainly created, and as well as the 2 versions of the 10 Commandments. The one most commonly used isn't even the proper 10, and the proper 10 include laws about sacrificing goat's blood or something. As well as the homophobia from Leviticus 20:13. I always remember that one because it completely points to how obsolete this instruction book for genocide truly is, not to mention the rest of it. And the beating of slaves and killing rape victims, because women are useless if they've already had sex, implies Yahweh. And again, if God is truly all-knowing, all-powerful, he should have known then that all these things are horribly wrong from the beginning and against any human decency except for maybe the 2 or 3 that do make sense. No killing, no stealing, no lying. Ironic, considering God orders his people to kill and steal just a few pages later, and his followers, even today, are constantly lying about things like evolution and other things, such as well as the Pope telling Africa that condoms spread AIDS. Moderate belief like yours enable people to do this kind of evil to others. Though you yourself probably do nothing evil, your support in the same book allow those who really follow the book cover to cover to have their way. That's why it's dangerous. That's why I fight. Religion encourages people to hurt each other, at least yours does, physically, mentally, or emotionally. That's all the reason I need. If that's what you consider spreading hate, then I have no more words for you. If you choose not to value evidence, what evidence can I show you? You just need to do the research on your own. Read all of Leviticus and Deuteronomy and see why I fight the spreading of the Bible's message. Jesus always said he came to fulfill the laws of Moses. Just go and take a look at what those laws actually say, and then imagine that parents around the world are telling their children that this book is the 100% true word of their God. If you're truly honest with yourself, you see why I think you guys need to recreate a new God and scrap this old one. This old one makes you all look bad. Why not get rid of the stigma and just be good people for the sake of being good? It's what I do. I try to be polite and considerate. I try to be at least friendly. I try not to get in the way of anyone doing what they want, so long as they're not trying to hurt me or someone I care about or stop me from doing what I want, as long as I'm not trying to hurt someone. I do it because I recognize I have to live among my fellow organisms, and I would have no right to expect them to let me have free choice if I didn't allow them the same. Building up false reasons to hate each other, such as God's ordering gays to death, saying non-believers are fools led by the devil, etc., is just counterproductive to getting along with everybody. Recognizing science has made me understand no belief or faith needed. The evidence is there. It's conclusive. There are no questions anymore, except in people whose interests go against people understanding reality, that we are all one family. We all came from the same beginnings of chemical reactions merging and automated systems merging due to accumulation of chemical elements on and on for billions of years until the first cells, then the first cell cooperation into more complex organisms, and us, eventually, and more. We are all one family, and fighting is pointless, so we should get rid of the things that artificially inspire division among us, and the Abrahamic faiths seem to be doing the biggest dividing right now. 33,000 plus disagreeing sects of Christianity, each thinking the 99,000 other, whatever, denominations aren't gonna share heaven with them. Not to mention the divided Jewish community, as well as divided Islam, all dividing against each other and against those who believe in other things or have no spiritual belief in the first place, just because of the laws of deities or messiahs or prophets that neither religion have bothered to even prove to us. So long as people follow a God whose main story involves discrimination of any kind beyond towards people who take rights away from others without express permission, including the right to property, life, and honest discourse, I will fight the religion. So long as people are following a religion that forces rape victims to give birth without the option to terminate, I will fight it. It's about protecting humans. It's about stopping justifications for hate. It's the only reason I'm so passionate. I want to help people. Laughing at bogus religions is a way to help inform new people not to take bogus religions seriously. The only people feeling hurt by the laughing are those who have emotionally tied themselves to these ideas that they didn't even create. We laugh and cry at the ideas because they're so wrong, and yet so many people are swayed into their calculated oppressive mindsets, and good people are doing bad things because of them. We want people to stop having fear of death because of hell. We want to teach them why to value life rather than just threatening them against not being bad. We want them to stop having fear of or for people who believe in other things. There's no reason to fear for someone who's not following your God just because you think they're not going to go to your heaven. You have to understand, you don't know. We want to stop people from teaching each other that we need to change everyone if they're not like us, but that we do need to encourage change if what we're doing is unjustly harming people. Humanity is constantly figuring out our own rules and laws. It's what we've always done and what we'll always continue to do. And so long as there are those of us who keep the bigger picture of all humanity and all life in mind, we just might shed the barbaric bigotries promoted by the bigger ancient ideas and find a free, peaceful society. Well, until we solve the whole money issue, which is a complete different story.